Hey everybody, it's Grant with Grant Bakes, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to score a wheat stalk on the top of your sourdough bread. It's probably the only decorative scoring that I do on my sourdough bread, and it's the only one I'm really good at, so I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, I've got my sourdough bread, and it's fresh from the fridge. It's been proofing overnight, actually for about 24 hours. And then I've got a little sheet of parchment paper that I'm going to transfer the bread onto. I've got my UFO lamb. You're gonna need any kind of razor blade or straight lamb for this. And then I've got some white rice flour. This is the best flour to use for decorative scoring on top of your loaves. If you've got just regular all-purpose flour or bread flour, that'll be fine too, but this is the best. And then I'm gonna use this bamboo stick to help me with the decorative scoring. You can use a toothpick, or you actually don't need to use anything at all, but this is what I'm gonna use. Okay, when your bread is ready to bake, go ahead and transfer it onto your parchment paper right there. Then you're just gonna sprinkle the top of the bread with some white rice flour. Rice flour is going to create a good contrast on the loaf. Wherever you score, your bread's going to open up. The parts that open up are going to look brown, and the parts that you sprinkled with flour are going to stay white. So you're going to see really good contrast on your loaf. That's why people that do a lot of decorative scoring like to use rice flour, if you've ever wondered that. Now, just like usual, I'm going to score one long slash right here on the loaf. That's going to open up and create an ear on the loaf of bread. That's my functional score. And then on the left side of the loaf, I'm gonna put a little wheat stalk or two, maybe 2 or 3 wheat stalks. That's not actually gonna burst open when I bake the bread. It's just gonna kind of open up a little bit. That's just kind of the decorative score. So we've got a functional score on the right that opens the bread up. It allows the bread to basically expand during the oven spring. And then the decorative score on the left is just for looks. Okay, I figured this would actually be easier to describe to you through a drawing. So this is my bread, and anything I draw with a pen is going to be an imaginary line, and anything I draw with a Sharpie marker is going to be a real score mark that I'm actually cutting into the dough with a blade. So to score a wheat stalk, I'm gonna make a couple imaginary lines like this. You can just like stencil them in with a toothpick or a bamboo skewer like I'm using. I'm just doing 2 wheat stalks. Couple lines like that, and then I'll take my blade and I'll go boom, 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 just tiny little cuts, boom, 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 boom. Do the same with the top one, boom, 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 and little cuts like that. So basically the actual cuts will open up and you'll just kind of imagine that there's a line in the center. There won't actually be a score. What happens is if you score the line down the middle, which is what a lot of people do, it's what I did when I first scored my first wheat stalk. When the bread has oven spring in the oven, this kind of opens up and creates this big, ugly middle line. And these all kind of open. That doesn't look like a wheat stalk. That looks just, I don't know, like a weird bug. So what you want is for just these to open up in the oven. So if you have this imaginary line in the center, then just the little grains of wheat are going to open up and not the center line. So that's what you want. You just want an imaginary line in the middle, and then your score marks are going to open up on the sides. And then you can do a lot of different designs. I'm just going to do my regular functional score, just one straight long slash down the center, a little offset from the center, and so that'll open up and hopefully give me a nice sourdough ear right here. Let's see what it really looks like on the bread.
Okay, so this is where I'm using the bamboo skewer just to draw an imaginary line. It's just a line I can see, but it's not actually going to cut into the dough at all. I'm just making the stem of the wheat stalk. And then with my lamb at roughly a 90-degree angle to the dough, I'm just making some quick, confident cuts. That's the part that will actually open up in the oven. And then I'm just mirroring that on the other side of that imaginary line. But unfortunately, I'm not going as deep as I would like to on that side, so I'm going back over them one more time. Make sure you just do quick, confident cuts that are deep enough so that they'll open up in the oven. Then I'm going to draw another wheat stalk up top, so drawing another imaginary line. And I'm going to score around that just like I did with the first one. Quick, confident cuts on the first side, and then mirror image on the right side. That is the decorative score, and now I'm going to do the functional score on the right side. I'm going to do just my regular long slash, taking my lam at a 45-degree angle, more or less, pulling it from the top to the bottom, making sure I go all the way through. With this kind of score, hopefully the bread will open up along that line and give me a nice sourdough ear. And so I'm going to bake this for about 20 minutes at 500 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, I just took the lid off my Dutch oven. The scoring looks pretty good, but I made a different mistake that I kind of want to point out to you. It has nothing to do with the scoring. Took the lid off, and the wheat stalks look pretty good. They've opened up just a little bit, and then the functional score made a nice ear on the loaf, but it's like totally ballooned up. And I think does not happen to me that often, but it's happened a few times that I think what I did was I didn't bulk ferment the dough for long enough. It might be a little bit under fermented on the bulk fermentation side. So I think that's why it totally just kind of exploded in there. Hopefully it's still good. I think I have like an air bubble in there. That's what happened there. But all in all, the scoring looks pretty good. I'm just gonna keep baking this for another 15 minutes until I've got the crust color that I'm looking for. Yeah, after 15 extra minutes of baking, here is the wheat stalk. This one looks a little bit better than this one, in my opinion. I think I didn't make these deep enough, and that was the mistake I made. So if you notice that your score marks aren't quite deep enough, definitely you can go through them one more time with the dough lam. Like those were perfect. I think those right there opened up perfectly. So 2 little wheat stalks on the side of my sourdough bread. You can do one super long one. You can do 3 or 4 wheat stalks. Just play around with it. It's a fun scoring pattern to kind of mess around with if you're getting into decorative scoring. I don't usually do a lot of decorative scoring videos, but if you like that kind of thing, please let me know in the comments. I can learn more and try to teach you what I learn. If you're just getting started with sourdough bread and you're struggling, you need to check out my main sourdough bread recipe. It's really beginner friendly, and it's what I make every single week when I make sourdough. So go check that out in the video right here, and I'll see you in the next one.